Afternoon, everybody, or should I say evening. Hope everybody's having a great day, no matter what time you listen to this video. Folks, there's times I don't podcast for a day or two, depending on how busy I am with my job, with my scrapping and trying to do other things around here. Just it is what it is. But at any rate, I do enjoy the feedback, the comments, the subscriptions, the likes, and the friendship that I've grown to enjoy with so many of my listeners. All right, folks, here we go. So, Special Envoy Stephen Witkoff on Tucker Carlson show. Russia Putin prayed for friend Trump after he was shot. So Putin prayed for Trump after he was shot. Commissioned a painting of U.S. president by top Russian artist. So Putin had a painting of Trump commissioned. Wow. Now, I did not hear that. I listened to a good half of this video. It was several hours long. That's the way Tucker Carlson does these full interviews. But this guy here is a very important person. He knows more about international affairs than most people. So, special envoy Steve Witkoff was turned into a key piece of manpower in the Donald J. Trump administration when it comes to high level negotiations. Witkoff comes from a real estate investor and lawyer background, having held no formal diplomatic post until Trump called him to serve. So, despite that, the 45th and 47th president, U.S. President Trump, has trusted him with not one but seemingly impossible task to negotiate peace in the Middle East. Also, to head to uh, head of the detaining process. I guess I misspelled a word. I don't know. With Russia. Oh, okay. He's supposed to be a detainee with Russia. Okay. Achieving an end to the war in Ukraine. So he is a special envoy to try to cause peace in the Middle East, brokered that deal with Israel and all the warring countries over there, and also with the Russia Ukraine deal as well. Uh, Sounds like he is a great negotiator. Tucker Carlson has several great clips of him speaking, but this one here is the one that really
In the second visit that I had,
is the craziest.
It got personal. The President Putin had commissioned a beautiful portrait of President Trump from the leading Russian artist, and actually gave it to me and asked me to take it home to President Trump, which I brought home and delivered to him. It's been reported in the paper, but it was such a gracious moment, and told me a story, Tucker, about how when the president was shot, he went to his local church and met with his priest and prayed for the president.
Check this out.
Had commissioned a beautiful portrait of President Trump from the leading Russian artist, and actually gave it to me and asked me to take it home to President Trump, which I brought home and delivered to him. It's been reported in the paper, but it was such a gracious moment.
Putin did that.
And told me a story, Tucker, about how when the president was shot, he went to his local church and met with his priest and prayed for the president, not because he was the president of he could become the president of the United States, but because he had a friendship with him and he was praying for his friend. It was, wow. Can you imagine sitting there and listening to these kind of conversations? And I came home and delivered that message to our president and delivered the painting. And he was clearly touched by it. So this is the kind of connection that we've been able to reestablish. Amen. Through, by the way, a simple word called communication.
Now, folks, I do encourage everybody, if you've got time, to go back and watch this Steve Witkoff on Tucker Carlson Network. There was many highlight moments that he said some things that just knock your socks off. Most people don't know this stuff. This guy speaks with 90% of the world leaders just because he is a key negotiator for Trump. And obviously he's doing a great job. And the moral of this story is he got in a position where Putin offered him a painting by one of the top painters in Russia of Trump, for Trump. and Putin prayed for Trump after he was shot, not because he was a world leader that he wanted back in, but because he considered him a friend. Wow. That's pretty amazing, folks. Whether you agree with Putin being Trump's friend or not, I don't know. I guess everybody's got their own opinion about that, but I would have to say that Putin is, we would prefer him to be an ally, no doubt about it. Now, this is a crazy, crazy scenario, but I believe it's going to work. You know how Trump is already trying to broker a deal with Canada, broker deals with Mexico as far as keeping the fentanyl out, keeping the immigrants out, trying to turn Canada into a 51st state if they can't pay their own bills, eyeballing Greenland, discussing what we can do about controlling Panama again. Trump's got his eye on several big states in the world, and as of this week, well, last week Trump was talking about making a deal with Putin about rare earth minerals in Russia, and Putin said he would be open to that. And he's also working on a mineral deal with Ukraine as part of the payback for all the money they borrowed during the war. But more than that, we have another mineral deal on the table. African war torn nation invokes Trump's golden aid for a mineral deal in exchange for booting violent rebels. They want Trump to come in and possibly clean up and bring civility to the Congo nation. We're going to get into this together here, folks. This is pretty cool. There's several articles about it. There was one on the Gateway Pundit, and I guess I took it down, or I just couldn't find it for a second time. But Fox News had a report on it as well. And this is the African leader of the Congo. And I just thought this was an amazing speech. He said they got 24 trillion with a T, dollars in minerals below the Congo, which include diamonds, gold, lithium, palladium, and a few other really precious metals that are hard to come by in 99% of the world. And this guy is willing to let us come over there and set up shop, maybe set up a base, and set up mining, employ his people there, give everybody a job there at the smelters and in the refineries, whether we're digging for diamonds or digging for lithium. Um, Trump could actually bring in business to there because of the resources in the ground. Instead of everybody over there killing each other, he could actually get over there and put everybody to work. And this guy knows Trump could make it happen, so he put it on the table. Here we go, folks. This is good news. We are not going to have a problem getting rare earth minerals in the future. This was one of our biggest worries with trying to promote AI, promote electric vehicles and things, promote things involving space. A lot of our new technologies, we need lithium. We need a lot of these rare earth minerals, and they're not something that are used. Most of them are not here in America. They're over in Europe somewhere. And so here we go, Africa as well, offering their rare earth minerals to bring peace to their country. That's somebody that believes Trump can do it. It says a lot about their faith in Trump's ability to make things happen. Just got to make that note.
Welcome back to Special Report. In just a few moments, we will speak with the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo. But first, let's take a look at the history of the conflict in his country. This region has been ravaged by war over religion, ethnicity, and minerals since the 1990s. More than 6 million people have died. Now, the first conflict began amid the 1994 Rwandan genocide. It's when the Hutu extremists in Rwanda killed an estimated 1 million Tutsis and moderate Hutus, other groups. At the same time, around 2 million Hutu refugees crossed into the Democratic Republic of Congo, settling in the eastern region. This is in the red part here. This place, the Congo. How would a U.S. company guarantee Democratic Republic of Congo? But first, let's take a look at the history of the conflict in his country. This region has been
Folks, full interview is out there. All you have to do is Google it. There's actually a couple different interviews and more reporting on it. But truth be known, it is up in the air that they got $24 trillion worth of resources that Trump may be interested in for our country. And all we would have to do is go over there and stabilize the region. And we could do that with us setting up a mine, several mines there, set up business there, set up shop there, and set up a base or two there for protection of not only our people, but the employees, which are the citizens of that part of Africa, which would be a perfect deal for everybody involved. To bring peace, like peace in the Middle East. He can bring peace to South Africa by brokering a deal where everybody's working instead of fighting. I can see it happening. Now, folks, this is, I see Stephen Miller a lot of days just torch the left because he's good at it. Super intelligent guy. I would have to say he is probably one of the smartest people in the Trump administration. He is one of his top policy advisors, has been the
Glad
whole
to. Thank
time.
you.
And today or yesterday, I guess it was, he just destroyed several minutes long, but I'll bring you at least 5 or 6 minutes of it. Uh, Nothing but good stuff. Stephen Miller sets the CNN reporter, um, sets her in her place for all her misguided assumptions, lies, and attempts to propagandize the truth. Check it out, folks.
So you called the judge's order just earlier today, quote, patently unlawful, end quote, and said that it was an assault on democracy itself. Does that mean that the administration is ignoring this order, and might you ignore future court orders that?
Something you're going to notice every question she asked him is about trying to get him in a bind with his answer so it can be litigated later that this is part of Trump's agenda. She's trying to set him up for lawsuits or evidence against him in the current lawsuit. Listen.
Meet the criteria you laid out?
The President of the United States and his administration reserve all rights under the Constitution to conduct national security operations in defense of the United States. The Alien Enemies Act, which was passed into law by the founding generation of this country, men like John Adams, was written explicitly to give the President the authority to repel an alien invasion of the United States. That is not something that a district court judge has any authority whatsoever to interfere with, to enjoin, to restrict, or to restrain any way. You can read the law yourself. There's not one clause in that law that makes it subject to judicial review, let alone district court review.
So, Stephen, when you say that this person has no authority at all, this is how our system works. It starts with these judges and then continues up. At what point does it become, in your view, legal for the justice system to be looking at this and making a judgment? And I fail to see how there's any other way but to start with where we're starting here before you get to eventually the Supreme Court.
Well, so first of all, there's a term in law, justiciable. This is not justiciable. In other words, this is not subject to judicial remedy. When the president is exercising his Article 2 powers to defend the country against an invasion or to repel a foreign terrorist that is unlawfully in the country, he's exercising his core Article 2 powers as commander-in-chief.
Is Venezuela invading the U.S.?
This is a very important point. This is a Title 50 authority. It's a commander-in-chief authority. So just to ask you a simple question, you talk about how the system works. Does a district court judge have the right to direct or enjoin troop movements overseas? Yes or no?
Well, Stephen, my question. You can answer my question first.
In other words,
is Venezuela invading our
She was not going to answer that question
country in a way that would?
So instead of answering a question, she's trying to say, "Oh, well, let me ask you a shitty question instead."
TDA. So I'll answer yours, and you'll answer mine. Under the terms of the statute, Tren de Aragua is an alien enemy force that has come here as detailed at length in the proclamation at the direction of the Venezuelan government. The statute.
Do you realize this, folks? I don't know if you realize this, but it's a fact. Maduro on behalf of the Venezuelan government, has allowed all these Trinidad prisoners to be released and shipped into our country, and Biden was totally aware of it. Just thought I'd throw that fun fact out there.
The statute says that a president has the ability to repel an invasion or predatory incursion that is directed by a foreign
state
government.
or a government, right? Are they a state or a government?
This would be, yes, it is documented. That TDA was sent by the Venezuelan government in the proclamation. And here's an even more important point. Under the Constitution, who makes that determination? A district court judge elected by no one, or the commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy? The president and the president alone makes a decision of what triggers that determination.
So do you then think we
statute.
are actually at war with Venezuela, the nation state of Venezuela?
You're not hearing me, and you're not understanding me. Read the statute, Alien Enemies Act, 1798. It says if a predatory incursion is perpetrated by a foreign government, so it lists three qualifying actions. It could be an act of war.
It does say in the very beginning there has to be a declared war against a nation or a state. That's what it says.
No, wrong. Look up the statute. It's on my account on social media.
That's actually where we found it
see
earlier.
Yes, it says or a predatory incursion or an invasion. The statute delineates three criteria for triggering the Alien Enemies Act. One is an act of war, which, by the way, an invasion is an act of war, but put that aside. One is an invasion, which this is. One is a predatory incursion, which this is. So it actually meets all three statutory criteria.
Yeah.
But with respect to this particular statute, the proclamation is utilizing the incursion and invasion language in the statute.
So,
but this is a very important question, because no, hold on. It's a very important question.
Hold on.
You said the way our system works is the President of the United States commands the armed forces of the country, commands the foreign policy of the country, and that's subject to district court review. That is fundamentally untrue.
I never said that, Stephen. I did not say.
That has never been true.
This was not a military operation.
A district court judge can no more enjoin the expulsion of foreign terrorists to foreign soil that he can direct the movement of Air Force One, that he can direct the movement of an aircraft carrier, that he can direct Marco Rubio to engage in diplomacy in a country or not.
Do you think the Supreme Court has any say over this or not? Like, does the Supreme Court of the United States have any say over the things that you were just outlining right here?
There's another one of those gotcha questions I was telling you about, folks.
I believe what the Supreme Court will say is what I just said, which is that the president's conduct here is not subject to judicial review.
Okay, but you are acknowledging that they do, in fact, have a say here, even though you think they may agree with you.
What we are expecting is the Supreme Court to say what has always been the case, which is when the president is using his powers as commander-in-chief, those determinations are not subject to judicial review. In other words, the president's designation of Trinidad as a foreign terrorist organization and as an alien enemy are part of his inherent plenary authority. There is no way.
At what point in the system, Stephen,
how are you going to expel?
Power?
How are you going to expel illegal alien invaders from our country who are raping little girls, who are murdering little girls, if each and every deportation has to be adjudicated in a district court judge? That means you have no country, it means you have no sovereignty, it means you have no future. It is fundamentally incompatible to have a country and have individual expulsions adjudicated by a single district court judge.
I'm just trying to figure out at what point in the system do you, because what does the Trump administration believe? Because we do have separation of powers in this country. I hear what you're saying.
Yes,
you're saying the
separation of
district
powers.
court does not
This is the judiciary
have authority.
interfering
Stephen,
in
let me finish.
the executive function.
This is the judiciary interfering in the powers of the executive branch. That's the fucking, excuse my language, that's the bottom line here, folks. And the Supreme Court's going to have to rule, does the judiciary, do the courts have the power to throw out lawsuits and injunctions by left-wing activist judges to slow down the whole process of just trying to do what the American voter voted Trump in for? Deportations, getting rid of the criminals, prosecuting crimes, so many things that we finding the waste, fraud, and abuse and getting rid of it. We want that stuff. It shouldn't be a single judge should stop it.
Separation of powers. That is the separation of powers.
Did you ignore the judge's order here because you thought you could?
So the judge's order and the actions taken by the Departments of Defense, Justice, and Homeland Security are not in conflict. and the Department of Justice has been clear that they are not in conflict. But
so you think that you did go along with the order that the judge put out? You do not think that the Trump administration defied this order?
As the Justice Department said, there is no conflict between the judge's order and the action is taken by the departments I just listed. But I'm making a deeper and more fundamental point.
Yeah.
The district
court
if you
don't have to follow
ability.
It, why didn't you?
The district court has no ability to in any way restrain the president's authorities under the Alien Enemies Act or his ability to conduct the foreign affairs of the United States. Let me paint a picture for you. President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio had engaged in intensive diplomacy to obtain a bilateral security agreement with the nation of El Salvador. If a district court judge can enjoin that bilateral security agreement, then we do not have a democracy.
Stephen, you've made your argument.
We do not have a foreign policy.
We've heard you say this. Did you ignore, did the administration ignore the order from the district judge?
I've answered.
He's not playing this game with her. You see what's going on. She is trying to get him to say something that will hurt him or Trump in court. That is her whole shtick. That's why she invited him on CNN. It wasn't because she wanted to hear his opinion. She is trying to get him in a gotcha type question to where she can go, aha, this is what Trump and his cohort policy advisor, Stephen Miller, said. Ain't working. He's smarter than she is. She's playing checkers. He's playing chess. And she's just a dumb reporter. He is a policy advisor, super lawyer. No doubt about it, folks. Stephen Miller is one of the greatest assets to Trump's team, whether you know it or not. I got a couple short clips here for you, folks. I know this video is getting kind of long. This guy here is one of my favorites, and he even got Elon Musk's attention today. Elon Musk retweeted this video or reposted this video. And I just figured I'd share it with y'all since I share a lot of his stuff. Anyway, it's the good stuff.
Oversight, no congressional oversight. No one even knows who fucking hired these people. 300 employees with the budget of hundreds of millions of dollars. So Friday, Trump and Elon have found another rogue government agency with zero accountability to the fucking government. Just like USAID. This one called USIP, U.S. Institute of Peace. What were they doing? Roaming around the world, evidently exerting influence over foreign countries, except they had no fiscal oversight, no congressional oversight. No one even knows who fucking hired these people. 300 employees with the budget of hundreds of millions of dollars. So Friday, Trump sends what I can only assume they say government employees, I'm guessing it's Doge officials, and they were prevented from entering the building by a private security force, right?
It's getting good.
So Trump fires the entire board, and he sends them all back on Monday. Monday, Doge people show up with FBI agents, and once again, the private security team refuses to allow them in, and the president of USIP calls the cops. DC police show up, they side with Trump and are like, no, you got to let him in. So they get in there, they remove the president of USIP. Trump replaces him with a dude named Kenneth Jackson. And they get in there, and what they're going to find, Lord only knows. Hundreds of millions of dollars in a budget. And this USIP has had zero fiscal oversight, zero congressional oversight. No one in there has ever been elected. This is what we voted for, people. Our government has been completely out of control and run by, you have unelected people exerting foreign influence? In what regards? To what policy? Like, this is fucking insane. This is fucking insane. How many more of these government institutions are they gonna find that are just running around with absolutely no one fucking giving any amount of oversight? I bet you there's plenty more to find. Godspeed to Elon and Trump. Like this, you guys are fucking killing it.
They are killing it. And the government has been running amok for way too long. And now we're finding out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is and who the crooks are that were a part of the problem. And this here is I have to say, one of my favorite memes. Let me show you here. Oh, let me back up. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me, bear with me. I want to show you one of my favorite memes of the day, if not of the month. It's this one right here. Are you ready to see arrests? I am, because exposing all this waste, fraud, and abuse, folks, we're eventually going to get to the point that we've got the culprits involved. And I can't wait till next year, 6 months from now, a year from now, a year and a half from now, when we have to hold special elections because a big chunk of the Democrats and even maybe some crooked Republicans are out of business, out of a job, incarcerated, or going through legal proceedings that involve them not having a job anymore through Congress, and we got to find somebody to fill their spot. It's coming, folks. Mark my words. That's what I got for you today. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and share. Over and out.